Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1 Million by 1 Million, as you know, is the first and only global virtual incubator accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And we are working very diligently for years on this mission, and many of you have joined us in our effort and have been working with us as well. So this is our 238th mentoring roundtable. So, been around the block for a little while. And we've had over 25,000 of you participate in these sessions. It's been a real pleasure and a real eye-opener to see what all is going on in the entrepreneurial universe all over the world. So it's today also we're going to have a very international session as usual. Now, before we get into the mentoring, a few quick details, housekeeping. If you're live tweeting the show, please use hashtag 1M1M. Our Twitter handles are @1M by1M and @Romana. The recording will be available on our YouTube channel, which is 1M1M Roundtables. All recordings are there. And also on our blog, we'll have the recording on the blog as well. These are the call-in instructions. We will put these up again later on. Right now, we're not ready to take call-ins, but we will be eventually. So I'll put these up again. But you can make a note of the phone number and the access code if you like. We are launching this week a new Entrepreneur Journeys book. This is the 11th book in the series called Bootstrapping with a Paycheck. This is a massive trend right now in the industry. There is a tremendous amount of, starting up companies while holding on to your day job going on. And we saw that. We picked it up in our work, and we decided that we will, dig into it and, figure out how people are doing these things and why, what are the motivations, what are the nuances, and so forth. And that's the result of that is this Bootstrapping with a Paycheck book. We focus very heavily in this program on trying to come up with creative, interesting, pragmatic methods of bootstrapping. So check this book out. And in celebration of that, I have today invited a very special guest, JT O'Donnell, who's the CEO of Careerealism Media. And she has become one of the most influential career coaches in America, or perhaps around the world. JT, I don't know how much of international business you're doing, but certainly you will see her constantly on LinkedIn as an influencer. She's one of the biggest influencers on LinkedIn, and she sees a tremendous amount of what's going on in the heads of people who are thinking about their career strategies. So there is the entrepreneurship side, and then there is the career side. And our guest today, JT, is an expert on the career side, so we're going to have, I'm sure, a very, very stimulating discussion on the topic with JT. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, absolutely. JT, tell us what's going on in your universe. Are you seeing this trend?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I'd like to believe that we're encouraging this trend. We constantly use the term business of one. We've diligently spent the last 5 years trying to help people understand that you no longer work for employers, that you need to think about working with employers, that you need to see yourself as a business of one, because we are behind in terms of our skills and knowledge with respect to that. We got comfortable with the golden handcuffs of long-term employment, and those days abruptly, went away and are gone. So we're closing the gap in our knowledge and skills and abilities to manage ourselves differently in our careers. And I think one of those is recognizing that we need to have several paths potentially running at once. That hobby career turned, bootstrapping entrepreneurial idea turned full-time job is one that I am hearing every single day in our career coaching. JT, I want to do this, but ultimately I want to be here. I want to run this company, but I don't want to give up the security of my current job. How am I going to do that? And the answer always is bootstrapping, right? And so many advantages to that. It's endless. I did it. I came on this show, and if it wasn't for you saying, don't worry about the funding, bootstrap, I think I might have, you know, gone to look for funding or even given up. But it was that encouragement to say, stay true to it, that pushed me through. And you do hit a plateau, and then when you break through, it's pretty amazing. So I'm a huge fan, and yes, we're seeing it everywhere. And I'll just tell you a quick anecdote. The editor-in-chief of LinkedIn's influencer program was sharing how they're using trending data, trending storylines to anticipate things. And he said that in the last month and a half, there's been an incredible number of I quit blog posts, how to quit your job. And correlating with that, guess what? Massive job movement. So we think we're starting to finally see that trend of people saying, I'm ready. I was working and I got my business to a certain level and I'm ready to go out and try. So all encouraging signs in many different levels.
Yeah, that's actually wonderful because, for the audience, I want to highlight the fact that people's risk tolerances vary and people's situations vary. If you listen to all the pundits, like Peter Thiel, for instance, is a very big influencer in our world, in the entrepreneurship world. He writes a lot. He writes books. He has the pulpit to, speak from. Everybody listens to him. He's going to basically tell you, unless you're doing something, unless you're going after one of these billion-dollar transformative ideas, nothing is worth doing. This is completely counter to the philosophy of 1 million, billion. Maureen, somebody is throwing noise into the call. Okay, I think we got that under control. Sorry about that. So I honestly believe that you decide what scale of idea, what scale of risk you want to go after. You don't need Peter Thiel to tell you that your idea is worthless. There's a big difference between a bad idea and a small idea. So we have tons of examples of people who have taken a small idea, done this slower route of keeping a job, building a business up to a certain point, and then taking it to the next level and become successful. And then once you have hit your stride and once the cash is coming, you've learned a little bit about how to build a business, you can go to the next level if you wish to go to the next level, but you don't have to kind of swing for the fences and have someone tell you that if you have not raised venture capital, your idea is bad and it's not worth pursuing and you have no chance at an entrepreneurial career. And this is exactly what JT is telling you here, that she has pursued that path successfully, and all of you who are trying to figure out whether you can do it in a more, risk mitigated way, that's fine. Bills have to be paid. That is the reality of life. We live in society, bills have to be paid, we have to navigate our ways through this and fulfill our dreams. That's why we're here. JT, question to you. Let's look at some of the segments, yes, this is an overriding trend. What segments are you seeing particular interest? Is it women who are trying to, we've talked about this on a previous where, women are quitting and trying to raise babies, and in the meantime, they're trying to also preserve a career, and that's one segment that I think has, very good dynamics for this kind of action. And then there's a huge technology worker,
Absolutely. No, you hit on it. And obviously, when I think of your previous book and how that ties into women, I'm that classic scenario. I was nodding through your whole explanation because I am every single one of those things. And the one thing I tell everybody listening today is that when you get that negative advice, like Peter's advice, follow the little tiny inner voice inside of you that says, no, that's not right. Why does it have to be that way? Because it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. You need to. There are so many different ways to become an entrepreneur, and candidly, not going at a fast pace and not getting funding was the best thing that ever happened to me. My business doesn't look anything like it looked when we started, and that's because we were allowed to course correct because of the power of bootstrapping. So always remember that. And women is a huge trend. We're seeing it across the board. They couldn't build the careers that they wanted to in the corporate sector, so they left it and said, I'll scale back, I'll take an easier job, or I won't put any more energy into building my career at this place. I'll kind of, you know, collect on what I've put in so far, and I'll drive my energy in that other direction. Another big trend is millennials, Gen Y. They are highly underemployed and underemployed. 26% unemployment in college graduates. Most of them are underemployed in roles. They're frustrated, rightfully so, and so they're taking their time and saying, I've got nothing to lose, right? I don't have any big bills. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm going to play with my ideas, and I think that's great for them because there's so much to learn as an entrepreneur. There's so many trial and errors. I have one 24-year-old in my company right now. He's literally started 4 different businesses through college and after. And he is an entrepreneur, but he understands he needs a day job, right, in order to fund those ideas. I'm fully supportive of that. So you'll see that trend quite a bit. I think hopefully we'll see an emerging trend probably with the people in their 40s across the board. The typical mid-career crisis, not a midlife crisis, a mid-career crisis. I'm 20 years in, right, and all of a sudden I can't imagine doing this for another 20 years of my life, but I do have 2 kids and a mortgage and several car payments, so how am I going to make this happen? And we deal with a lot of those. They don't want a career change. They want to start that thing on their side.
Yep, absolutely. Now, talk about the millennials a bit more. They are underemployed. They are, you know, very stressed. This is youth unemployment. Actually, since we deal with a very global population, youth unemployment in Europe is a disaster, absolutely. Yeah. And these people actually don't really have the luxury of bootstrapping with a paycheck. They don't have paychecks in a lot of cases. So,
what I love about, the trends with the millennials is that they're so good at teamwork. They're very comfortable collaborating together. And so if you don't have a lot of money because you don't have a paycheck, nor does anybody else, they're coming together in their free time because they have it and brainstorming ideas and saying, we've got nothing to lose but to play around with this idea and give it a try and see what works. So there's this hotbed of activity that's happening. They're developing themselves, and the payoff's going to come down the line. We're already seeing signs for the war for talent. I went to a huge talent event a couple weeks ago. Number one concern of all recruiters is we're about to have a massive crunch as all of the boomers retire. There aren't enough of that middle level, that Gen Xer, to replace them. Even with technological advances shrinking some job sectors, we're going to have this issue. It's going to be a great time for the millennials to step up and close that income gap that they lost because they'll be in demand. And I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be the ones that were entrepreneurial. Even if they started businesses and they failed, it's going to tell those companies there's somebody who gets it. There's somebody who understands business and how difficult it can be. So trying to be an entrepreneur and bootstrapping has its upsides. I've seen many, many individuals go out on their own, it not work, but come back and get better jobs because of the healthy respect and the new perspective they have on what it takes to run a business, and that's an asset to employers. So for all those folks that are globally, you know, on the younger side, collaborate, brainstorm, start things. You know, experiments never fail. You just keep on trying. You're certainly not going to lose a ton of money in it because you don't have a lot to begin with.
Yeah, and for the millennials, it's a no-brainer, really, and it's a great learning experience today. The amount, you know, when you and I, JT, we started way, way back, right? I actually started my first company in 1994 while I was still a graduate student at MIT. And at that time, we had to learn everything on the job. None of this was available. The internet, I'm the generation that built the internet. So we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all these content or learning and all this stuff available on the internet. So we had to make all these mistakes and learn on the job. So right now, I think there is a tremendous learning curve in entrepreneurship. And it's an incredible opportunity if you can invest in yourself, in teaching yourself what you need to learn. Can you cut the noise? That really helps, you know, mitigate your journey and the risks of your journey, because it will take, and I'm not kidding, it's going to take you 18 months, 24 months, 36 months of really, really difficult times. And whether you raise money later on in the game, and by the way, in this book, we have covered both styles of entrepreneurship. We've covered entrepreneurship where the entrepreneur has bootstrapped all the way, and we've covered companies where the business was started in a bootstrapping using a paycheck mode and then went on to raise huge amounts of money. So all of those are fine, but there is a navigation that you have to do in, and that navigation period could be 36 months, and that's really what's difficult to navigate when you don't have financing and you don't have a paycheck and you don't have a lot of savings. It just becomes very complicated.
You know what's funny? I'll just comment and say one of the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur is thinking about the money for the business never goes away. You always think, if I only get to this level of revenues, if I only get to this level, but when you reach those levels, you find new problems, new opportunities that you have to reinvest in. You're always thinking about it. So you want to just get comfortable with that. It's in the sense that you'll always be a little uncomfortable, right? You just spend your whole time. Until you're out of business, you're always going to worry about it.
And uncomfortable is not a bad thing. Comfort zone is not where you grow, actually. If you step out of your comfort zone, that's where really personal growth occurs. So, a lot of people will tell you that people whose careers have been straight, vertical up actually are very bad to learn from, because they haven't really, they haven't really failed, they haven't really stopped to think about what made them successful. There is a tremendous amount of luck involved in any extraordinary amount of success. People forget that. Once they become successful, they forget what made them successful, and they think it's all me, and it's me. They forget the luck role that the role that luck played. So let me actually switch us to another very important topic. We've dealt with this extensively in the book, is what's happening on the corporate side. And JT talked about it a little bit, that you as an employer are encouraging your 24-year-old millennial employee to pursue the path of entrepreneurship while working for you. This trend is actually a bigger trend than we give credit for. So we, you must have read about this, folks, those who are listening. We have this Incubator in a Box platform that we launched about a year and a half ago. And we work with a lot of corporations, actually, who are running various kinds of corporate incubation programs on top of our platform. So we have essentially employers paying their employees to study with 1M1M to learn how to be an entrepreneur. Very interesting, right? Your employer is paying for you to learn how to be an entrepreneur. It validates how important entrepreneurial skills are becoming across the board all over the, business society. And the other piece of this is you could actually get your employer to even finance some part of your journey, not just paying for you to learn, but also give you some amount of investment to pursue your idea. So we have one case study in the book called Data Stacks. This company has since, it was started inside of Rackspace. Rackspace gave them, once they had kind of sorted things out what they wanted to do, Rackspace gave them $100,000 in seed money. This company has since raised $107 million and is valued at over $750 million. So there's and of course, you don't have to go to those lengths. Even, all the way from, 0 to 750 million, you have a huge spectrum of different levels at which you can be successful, but it's a trend. The corporate incubation, the corporation's interest in grooming more entrepreneurial employees is a trend, and it's something that you should take advantage of. JD, what are you seeing in your orbit?
Oh, completely. When we talk to companies about the skills gap, and they give you specifics like critical thinking and being resourceful, it always comes back to they want them to think like a business owner. plain and simple. Look at this, look at your job from the perspective of if you were the owner of the company. That only comes from developing your entrepreneurial skills. So it doesn't surprise me that companies are doing this. Plus, they know that this younger generation, they know they're not going to be able to keep them all. That's another reality companies are finally opening up to. They can't keep you for 10 or 20 years. So what can we give you to make you while you're here? The founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, calls it a tour of duty, and they really believe in that you're there for 2 years and then you're going to move on. So as an employer, what can I give you so that when you move on, you remember how great we were to you, because you might want to come back and do another tour of duty with us at another time. That's such a different shift from when you and I were taking jobs and when you left, you were basically told you'd never be invited back again. That's completely gone. Companies just morph in and out. People move from places to place where they fit. And that speaks to the trend that a study shows that says as early as 2020, 1 out of 2 Americans could be independent contractors just because business is changing. What is that? That's you being a business of one and being entrepreneurial and allowing yourself to build your one company while you're still working for the other. So all of the indicators are there that it's going that way. I think it's almost scarier when people aren't trying to think of this as their solution. Instead, you know, in my world, I'm telling everyone to really test entrepreneurship in some way. And you mentioned that range, and I love that you keep reinforcing that, because entrepreneurship can be about lifestyle. Absolutely. And that's equally worthy if that's your agenda. That you have to think of what it is for you, what success and satisfaction is to you, and put your blinders onto that and stop looking at what other people are doing or comparing yourself. Your entrepreneurial goal is what you want it to be. And as soon as you embrace that, you'll be much happier.
And this trend that you're talking about of, you know, the solo entrepreneur, you know, a freelancer is very rapidly morphing into a solo entrepreneur, and that's the way they should think about it. You know, freelancers thinking about, oh, I need to find the next gig is not the way to have a successful business life. They should think of themselves as a solo entrepreneur, and if you put that hat on, and given the trend, if indeed by 2020, 1 out of 2 Americans become solo entrepreneurs, you better learn these skills of exactly how to think of yourself as the product. If you're looking for, you know, if you're looking for gigs, then you have to think of yourself as the product, and you have to product market yourself, you have to position yourself, you have to, you know, create your customer segmentation and your sales strategy and all of these things. And they're not so different from how you go to any other product.
You know, I'll jump in there and just say that in this day and age, with all the technologies available, there's a new expectation to brand yourself. You can't get away from it anymore, right? Just to not even have a LinkedIn profile. We say brand or be branded. To not engage and build a brand for yourself, even if you're an employee right now, is actually working against you, because it tells the world one of 3 things. Either you're not technology savvy, because this stuff is mainstream, you have something to hide, that's pretty bad, or there's nothing remarkable about you. No one is going to buy damaged goods. So if you aren't thinking about even branding yourself as a business of one, of a solopreneur, while you're still waiting for your idea of what you want to actually run for a business, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
So that's a topic that you know a lot about, JD. Talk about personal branding and how you have, especially how you've leveraged LinkedIn to do that.
Well, in entrepreneurship at this day and age, we know people hire specialists. It is paramount. We want to know who's driving the bus of any company these days, and we feel we're entitled. It's the information age. 81% of all people will research a product or a service online first and make a pare down of selections before they go and pursue something. So if you're an entrepreneur, understand that they're going to want to know your story, your passion, what you believe in, what you're about. That has to come to life, because we have so much choice these days in everything that we only buy things we trust, and we want to see who we can trust. So the first step, even before, if you don't even have your entrepreneurial idea, it's okay, because you should still be building your brand of your executive brand, you know, you as the person that you are, and define what pain do I alleviate? What problem do I solve that's bigger than me? What's that thing that I'm focused on, that I'm a specialist in? And that has to be showcased. Whether you're, you know, branding your profile, blogging, obviously people can get the pencil now on LinkedIn, building a Twitter feed. These are your audiences. You now have, it's almost equivalent to your own TV show or newspaper columns with social media. This is your chance. get this out there and do it now, because when you start the business and you want to go knock on doors and say, partner with me, what are they going to do? They're going to look you up. And if they don't see something that backs that up, you're not going to be chosen. So work on that now. That's something that's fully controllable.
There are a lot of tools available today that it seems like people are not necessarily taking advantage of. You and I take advantage of these things very heavily. But, you know, whether it's blogging, whether it's writing influencer columns on LinkedIn, whether it's tweeting and Facebook, you know, LinkedIn, there are all kinds of ways that you can, you know, for instance, we maintain a Hootsuite campaign on a regular basis that is very well fed and has tremendous amount of content that goes through Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all our, you know, touch points basically. But that's easy to do. Hootsuite costs $5.99.
I know.
Right?
It's crazy.
If you guys don't know how to write, learn to write. Writing is becoming a vital skill in 21st century work environments. Whatever you do your own business, you try to build your own career, writing has become a vital, vital differentiating factor. I would say both JT and I, the only reason we have been able to do what we are doing is because we write well.
You know, I will tell you that's the number one thing for me. I was an early adopter of social media and really perfecting what I wanted to write about and how to convey the message. And as you pointed out, it's about the consistency. And these tools make it so easy because you can automate this content being pushed out. So there's no excuses there. It's cheap. It's easy. It just takes a little, you know, time on your part to schedule. But writing has been so instrumental. In fact, I joke because I've had more than a few people in the influencer program say to me that they've heard people go, who is this woman? How is she even, you know, in the top 20 influencers? I chuckle. I laugh myself. I agree completely. But that came down
There's a list there. There's a lesson there that you can do it by sheer hard work and quality.
That's all it was. That's all it was writing with passion, with clarity and consistency, and never giving up, just pushing it out there. That is the only reason why. And when I tell people that, right, they say, how'd you do it? And they go, oh, gosh, I don't want to do that. Well, okay then, that's fine. If you don't want to do it, don't. But it doesn't take you 8 hours a day. And if you get in the routine, it pays off, you know. So it is a secret for everybody out there. Put the time in. You'll see the results.
And folks, just to put this in perspective, these top 20 influencers on LinkedIn that JT is, the list that she's on, includes Richard Branson. Now, Richard Branson doesn't have to do it, you know, in that mode. He has the brand. Anything he writes, people want to read. But for somebody who's doing it from scratch, for any of you who are now trying to build your brand, you have to put in the work. And the reason I love what JT has done is that it's really doable, but you have to put in the work. You have to be diligent. You have to be regular and disciplined and all that. And that's my secret too. You know, I started doing LinkedIn influencer much later, but my blog was well known for a long time, way before, you know, 2005 and when I started blogging.
Well, and I think you're bringing up a good point. We need multiple sources too. So learn to do one well. You nailed it with your blog. Huge following, right? Then once that's under control, you take on the next one. Yeah, you just take them on as it gets more familiar.
Yeah, and all those avenues are available today. Actually, content marketing is really hard, by the way. Content marketing gets a lot of PR these days as a very, very effective way to market, but it's very hard. If you look out there, most of the content that gets published is garbage. So this is why it's important to learn to write and learn to convey a point of view that is clear and important and differentiated, that people would want to engage with, authentic. So definitely, you know, look up what JT is doing in terms of her activities in brand building, and you will learn a lot from that.
It's funny, I'll tell you really quickly, my most recent post on LinkedIn is about blogging on LinkedIn and what 5 things you need to keep in mind as a new blogger just to avoid it. And I would encourage people just to go read that article. because it'll help you understand. And I agree with you. Content marketing is not as easy as everybody's making it out to seem.
Very hard. Can you imagine marketing a toothpaste brand and writing every week about toothpaste?
No.
All right. Well, JD, thank you very much for sharing your insights and giving us a perspective of what's happening on the career side of the equation, because you know, we see the trend from the entrepreneurship side, you're seeing the trend from the career side. It's unmistakable. People are interested in building businesses, and they are interested in building businesses without risking everything. So that is a path that we support. It's a path that you're supporting and encouraging, and something that people should pay attention to. Thank you, JD. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
Okay, we're going to take on some mentoring in the next part of the session. Would you like to stay, or are you?
If it's okay, I blocked up the time. I'd love to see what these folks are doing.
Absolutely, perfect. So let's have Thomas Wright unmute yourself and come tell us what you're up to.
Yes, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Thomas Wright. I represent the Empire Tech, and it's a technology startup based around an invention that I made called the Locator One. The Locator One is a cell phone case that can also find lost phones dead or silent. What's unique about this is it's a cell phone case that protects, but it also has computer boards embedded inside of the case that wirelessly communicate with the key fob, one-button key fob on your keychain to allow you to page your phone anywhere up to 70 feet. So if you see the screen, they have the actual phone case on the right. And what we've done is house the technology. So we haven't changed anything that people currently do. We've just pretty much upgraded it. And the story about, well, first of all, my story is I'm originally from Texas. I went to Ohio University to play football. So I'm originally a football player. After that, I had played one season in the pros. I ended up getting injured. And then once I got injured, I decided to do something completely different from football. So I went to design school at Miami International Art Institute, where I studied accessory design and the business of fashion. And I was actually designing like shoes and handbags. So I was doing things in that realm, heading to a meeting, and I lost my phone one day. And the day I lost my phone, I ended up missing the meeting, and I was looking all around the house. I kept going to the car. I remember this day, I just kept going back to the car, into the house, looking under the sofa, looking under the car seat, pretty much tearing up the house, but it didn't turn up in 5 minutes like it usually does. And I remember thinking I should have a button. I wish I could have a button to find my phone. And then that's kind of what led to me, well, not that kind of, that's exactly what led to me creating the Locator One. After that, I thought that was a good idea. I spoke to some of my friends that night when we met up. And then the next day, just started working on building this product. Since then, I've been a finalist to get in some accelerators and incubators. One was the Startup Miami Accelerator. Currently looking to get into the Fun Dreamer Incubator in Malibu with the Next Gen TM, and also have been a finalist in the Columbus Tech Accelerator and have pitched in the Black Enterprise Elevator Pitch finalist as well. So we can go to the next slide.
So Thomas, a question for you before you go on.
Okay.
There are apps and there's a software part of this functionality of trying to locate your phone. How much of this competitive analysis have you done, and what exactly are you competing with for this particular proposition?
Yeah, well, so the competition is pretty much apps as you spoke on. Assurion, who sells replacement phones at full price, and external attachments such as the Tile app. What's different from this is, first of all, it's inside the case and it's found specifically phones. So let's start with applications. Applications are available, however, they are individually platforms, so people like to reference the Find My Phone app, but 40% of the smartphone market is also Android, so there aren't many. Samsung does have apps, but all of them have their own limitations. And speaking with retailers, most people don't even download the available apps that's available, whether it be Find My Phone or for any other phone. That's the first thing. And also, they tell you the last known location of your phone, and if your phone is dead, then it's also useless. And it brings into play that you have to have constant access to essentially a second computer, whether it be through a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop, because so I'm on this call, and the phone I'm on is an iPhone that has the Find My Phone app, but what happens when I lose the phone with the app on it, right? So it becomes, that's the dilemma with the app itself. So you didn't have to either, people like say go to the Apple Store. The Apple Store closes whenever the mall closes, and typically can be 9 p.m. What if you lose your phone after 9 p.m.? You have to wait another day. Or you have to ask someone else to use their phone to drive home. I'm here in Houston, Texas. The average driving time is about 20 minutes, so we're looking at an hour to do something that you could have done pretty much in 5 minutes. The minute you realize your phone was missing.
Functionality with the car key, and you want the car key to drive the phone case. That's how you are configuring this.
Yes, the key fob goes on your keychain. Yes, the key fob goes on your keychain. And you press the button, and basically they're playing hide and seek. The fob says, where are you? The case says, here I am, with the alarm that's built inside. And what we've done is basically do all the jobs in one housing. So people are already buying cases, but they aren't actually downloading the Find My Phone options. So we put that inside of the case. So it's first a protected case, but it also has an added function of being able to find your phone. Going back to the other competition, there are other things that want to find everything, and they make basically things that are like the size of a stamp or a coin that you place onto things like your laptop, or you find a way to put it around your dog collar like a little pendant. It'd be things like that, and then they send signals back to your phone via an app. So it says the limitations of an app, and they're designed to find multiple things, specifically with tile. They want you to buy multiple tiles every year, so you can only use that for 1 year, the tiles that you buy, then they expire, and you have to buy more. I believe that that's how they're going to create lifetime consumers. Our goal to get lifetime purchases is to first be available when new phones release at the counter. So we want to build our brand loyalty with the new releases, so that each time somebody has a phone, they want the case that can do multiple things for basically the same price point. And also, I would say assure you on this competition, mainly because that's the company that replaces phones when you lose them. So it's in their best interest for people to lose their phone, as opposed to our best interest for people not to lose their phone.
So, Thomas, let me actually, we have a little bit of time left, and why don't we focus on where you are and how are you moving forward? What can we help you with?
Basically, where I am is I'm at the final prototype, and we're looking to go to market. I just launched a crowdfunding campaign last week on the Fundraising platform. So I'm here to, what I need to do is basically raise funds and execute the business plan. I've done different things. Our customer is basically wholesale, consumers, distributors, and then to the people. But the wholesale customer is very interested in the product, but we aren't able to take the money that they want to give because they don't have the actual product here to facilitate. So we need to release at least the factory minimum to then be able to go to these different outlets across the country.
What do you need right now to get the first, first batch
$27,000. $27,000 releases the factory minimum. Then we get 5,000 cases.
27. So you can do a crowdfunding campaign around that, yeah?
Yeah, it just launched. Yes, it launched, but this is a smaller platform. So I have launched a crowdfunding campaign, like I said, last week. That's what we're doing. But also, so it's limited based to the scope of my mailing list and what the crowdfunding platform does, and that's a brand new, as it put it through the incubator. So it's basically right now just trying to create that awareness to raise those funds. I believe it's doable, as everybody does, and that's just to at least get the product and service these distributors. So there are large distributors that I've contacted that want the product, but there simply isn't any product to send them. So
what is the status of our crowdfunding campaign? How far along are you?
This will be like day 10.
Sorry, day 10. And how much have been committed?
About $250.
$150. So you have a long way to go. Why is the crowdfunding campaign not gaining traction? What are the roadblocks?
One of the main roadblocks is there isn't enough awareness and there isn't any money to promote the campaign. So there isn't the money to do the things to get this opportunity to go viral. Like I said, I'm limited to the scope of my personal email list or phone. And most of the people that I know simply just do not understand any of this stuff. So it's kind of some of the things that we talked about, the negative comments and the negative feedback, and that's just kind of what's going on. So, and also, when I try to explain it, it's just not going well because to explain this business, a simple product with a huge and an intricate business opportunity and a huge market opportunity. So when we have to really talk about it and go in, they're just really not conveying the message. But I think the main thing is just limited awareness and not getting to those right people. And really, I'm having to really educate my specific crowd to then get them to trust and then get the participation.
Thomas, just a second. If I got it right, you were saying that you're not being able to convey the message of what you're doing, what's the value proposition to the market out there. That's one issue, and the second issue is you're not getting enough awareness around it.
Right, so the people that, so my email blasts go to people on my email list and the people I'm texting. So these people that I know, and when it's time to talk about things, I know that they don't know. First of all, what a crowdfunding is, or where is this money going? There's just a natural level of skepticism there is. So entrepreneurship in a lot of ways is a bad term. Everybody's employee-minded. So people think job. This seems to them like a waste of time, like you're running like you're just wasting time. You're a dreamer. However, like I said, the opportunity is real. The largest customer that wants to participate right now initially is the wholesaler or the distributors or the independent store owners. Going to the individual, like I said, these are people I know, so they just don't understand.
Thomas, this will only be productive if you listen a little bit. If you're only going to talk, then there's no point being here, right?
Yes, I agree. I didn't know you. I apologize.
So one thing, JT, feel free to chime in.
Yes, I'll jump in too. So I'm going to hit it from the influencer side. Let me jump in and first say that you're absolutely right, and it's normal for our friends and family not to be the right audience, Thomas. So you've got an unbelievable opportunity out there with all the different platforms. There are so many influencers alone on LinkedIn that if you were to go and search and speak to them and show them this, they might write about it for you and talk about your crowdfunding campaign. This is what influencers do. Not everyone's going to say yes, but you don't need them all to say yes. If you even just got a few of them to write about this and talk about it, you'd have third-party credibility. You'd have URLs that you could share. You could circle it back and show your friends and family that, hey, somebody in this space actually thought this was interesting. So that doesn't cost any money except your time and energy, and I would beeline straight over to the influencer platform on LinkedIn and start finding the people that are a match and try to reach out and connect with them.
In general, to do a successful crowdfunding campaign, you have to do guerrilla marketing. You cannot rely on just your own email list. You have to go mine social media. You have to, get people to talk about it. You have to do the legwork, and you can't just sit there and expect that things are going to go viral. You have to seed that virality. That's number one. The number two thing that I picked up in what you described to us is that your message may not be conveying what you're trying to convey, and that's something that you have to, if you can't do it yourself, you should get some help to, create a professional, clear message, because everything depends on that, right? If you don't have a video or an explainer video or something that is going to communicate what is it that you're trying to communicate, how are people going to buy into that? How are people going to understand what is it that you're trying to sell?
Yeah, I would find your story, because your own personal story as an entrepreneur is great. But I think if you could bring to light more of an in-depth story, we quickly flashed on the examples with the people on your slide deck, and that's really got my attention. As a mother of 2 children, I was laughing thinking, does that come in hot pink, and can I give it to my 13-year-old who loses her phone in the house on a regular basis? I was chuckling, and so somebody like me gets it, and I think if you led with stories right out of the gate that talk about the pain point, I think the audience will connect with it faster.
Your pitch needs work, and Maureen is saying the same thing in the public chat. Her kids' phones are always dead when they're lost. So you are speaking to, you know, you at least got, right now, you got validation from 2 mothers who would love to have your product. So that's a use case. Maybe that's a use case you build this story around. You go to the mommy bloggers and tell them about this product, and they will resonate with it and write about it perhaps, and you build up a campaign around your crowdfunding efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. I've contacted over 1,000, so I sent my press release to over 1,000 bloggers, magazine. I've been doing this for the past month leading to the launch. So I'm just basically right now getting a bunch of pats on the back and great ideas from the validation, but it's actually not converting itself.
But you're not doing it intelligently. You have to pick one segment. So you're going after too many segments. Just listening to JT and Maureen here, I would probably go into none of these use cases actually talk to these mothers who would like to get this product for their kids. So you just found a use case just speaking to them in this session, and you could potentially build this entire campaign around that use case and use the mommy blogger population to give you the awareness, and that could very well completely turn the tide on your business. Okay, so here's what I suggest, Thomas. Why don't you listen to this conversation? We will publish the recording tomorrow. You will have a chance to go back and listen to it. It's always, when you're receiving feedback in real time, it's not so easy to digest feedback. So when you listen to it again, and maybe again, you will pick up the nuances and be able to extract what we are saying and think about it and maybe, act upon it with some time. Right now we just threw a lot of feedback at you, and you're just, just getting all this feedback. You'll have to think about it. So I suggest you take the time to listen to this feedback, and I think there will be some course correction that you will gather from the feedback you got today, and I think it will give you more success.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, Thomas.
Rajiv, you're up next.
Hi, Shamana. This is Rajiv from Bangalore.
1 second,
Can you hear
Rajiv.
me?
Maureen, just a moment, Rajiv. Maureen, can we cut the echo? I'm not sure whose call is echoing. Maybe we can mute Thomas's line since he's done and see if that takes care of the echo.
Hello.
All right, Rajiv, go ahead. Perfect.
Hi, this is Rajiv from Bangalore, India.
I suspect you have both your computer and your phone line on. You need to put your computer on mute and just speak through the phone line.
Can you hear me better now?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So this is Rajiv from Bangalore, India. Very good morning, Maureen. Very good morning, JT. It's great to talk to you, Sramana, because you are one of my idols. So what we are doing is we are also a startup trying to help entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. I will just give you a brief about what we are trying to do and the story behind it. So I was part of a lot of startup events as a volunteer in India, and I felt that the 1% of the population who can anyway make it happen gets all the help, and the 99% doesn't get the help. And there's no continuity in the process when you take a lot of applications in a lot of events that happens, starting from Power of Ideas to NASSCOM 10,000 startup. So I was part of as a volunteer also in NASSCOM 10,000 startup, and I saw that there are 7,000 applications, 100 got selected, 6,900, we don't know what is happening to them. There's no tracking process to see what is happening to that population. So we thought we will try to solve it with an application, and we built an application for incubators, accelerators, and a lot of startup organizations which streamlines the whole process from application to shortlisting to onboarding of startup and tracking the progress of a startup in a single dashboard and giving a startup maturity index based on certain parameters. So that platform is what we are positioning to this incubators, accelerators, and various kind of corporates also. And what it does is that it reduces the program management cost for these incubators and accelerators. It also helps them showcase the impact that they're able to do through this program in a very nice dashboard, what they're able to do. And most importantly, it helps them have a continuity with the startups, both even after program or when they have not been shortlisted. They can also keep a track that who are getting into that sweet zone, whom they can again onboard into their incubators or accelerators. So currently we have spent around 6 months with it, and now we have some clients. We had done the pilot with Indian Tata First Dot, which is one of the largest in India, managing a lot of startups. And subsequently, we did it with NASCOM E-Summit. We did it with a lot of businessman competitions, and also IBM Smart Camp, which is one of the corporate client. And what we do is these are all paid.
Okay, so there people are paying you to use the platform.
Yeah, paying us to use the platform. What we do is we white label the platform, and we also propose that their graduates, we will help them with funding connects as well as crowdfunding of their graduates. So that's what we do. So currently, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So currently, as we are selling as a SaaS product to the enterprise customers, we're also trying to evaluate a business model where can we also solve a problem for investors and crowdfunding platforms. Both have shown interest. They have shown interest in this product, but we're still trying to figure out the right positioning for them. So in this process, when the startup goes through, we create a progress report of startups, and we are trying to pitch this progress report as subscription to this to the professional investor community. And a few of them shows interest, but we're not sure if how many of them will be really when we finally sell them, they will be willing to pay on a month-on-month basis.
There is a flaw in that logic, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you're trying to sell professional investors on the progress of startups, you have to get startups to report progress to you. And I don't see any way you will be able to get startups to report progress to you. Startups are notorious for not reporting progress.
Correct. So in that, what we have done is that we have a mentor community. So we bring a lot of value to the startups. So the mentor community meets every month once, and they give the feedback of what assumptions they should be testing. And month on month, the startups actually updates that have they been able to test those hypotheses and assumptions. And in that process, if they test all the assumptions that the mentor writes to them, their risk comes down because they have validated more assumptions that have been told by the.
That will work, and unfortunately, this is an area which I know inside out. This is not going to work because every single startup has a different set of milestones and a different set of next steps. Every situation is different. So your mentors, our mentor community, volunteer mentor community, are not going to keep track of what those are, and startups are not going to report to them about it. It's just not a viable situation.
Okay. So the next one that we are trying to figure out is that crowdfunding platform, and some of them in India have shown interest that if you kind of become a crystal or a body which kind of validates a startup, most of the crowdfunding campaigns doesn't complete because the backers doesn't have confidence in those startups. So if you, by a mechanism, can validate, authenticate those data over a period of time, then we are willing to share a commission on the funding amount that is raised to the crowdfunding platform. So this is one area that we are trying to say that we will help the startups get into the crowdfunding platform, and in that process, we have a share commission on the funding amount that has been raised.
So what are you trying to do is something like a credit rating kind of thing? The equivalent of a credit rating, is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
And are you going to charge the startups to get that rating?
No. So we are going to charge the crowdfunding platforms where the startups have completed their funding amount.
You are basing your business model on the success on the ability of these startups to successfully raise crowdfunding.
Yes, currently yes. Until we have enough credibility, enough volume for us to.
Steve, I don't like any of your business models. You know, I think what you're proposing to do as value proposition, in theory, sounds okay, but it's going to be very difficult for you to build a business with these assumptions. The business model of success fee-based business model for crowdfunding is a very risky proposition. You're going to be dealing with all these startups that are unfinanceable. Large number of campaigns fail because they're not financeable.
Correct.
So doesn't know how to hold on. Somebody doesn't know how to present their idea very well, or somebody doesn't promote doesn't know how to do the legwork to generate awareness. How are you going to impact any of that? That's not just a matter of giving them some sort of a rating or a stamp of approval. There is a lot more involved in getting a crowdfunding campaign successful. So, and you're predicating your success upon their ability to do all these things that you have no control over. I'm just concerned that in all the pieces that you've described so far, I don't see a very viable, reliable business model. That's what I feel uncomfortable about. JT, do you have thoughts?
No, where I see the trend going when I think about how you're taking advantage of closing the gap in their skills and closing the gap in their knowledge, and you think about how important that is, I definitely see it, but I'm not sure that this is where you want to go. Like you said, in theory, I look at it and go, yes, boy, wouldn't that be nice? I do. But in practice, I think it would be difficult to execute with them. I think about my own business. If I had been forced to show my numbers in the early stages, I think people would have laughed, right? But then later on, you can see the difference now. So I would worry that even some great ideas might end up being filtered out because of the way this works. I think there's a bigger opportunity.
People will not support those numbers. You can startups that have not already hit their strides will not want their numbers floating around with you for all the investors to go and check it out. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So both of these, this professional investor value proposition, crowdfunding platform value proposition, and the associated business model, I think these are flawed business models. Okay?
So I had a few questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one is, then should we concentrate on the selling of the platform for this incubators, accelerators, and a lot of startup organizations, both government and non-government organizations, as our core?
Good. There is a company, Unoodle, that does pretty much what you are proposing to do. Have you looked at Unoodle?
Yes. So
company.
Yeah. So yes. So we have looked at incubator portal and few more of them. But we
incubator portal, there's a specific company that sells to business plan competitions and universities and incubators and so forth to manage their contests and so forth. It's called Unoodle.
Unoodle, okay, yeah.
Are you familiar with them? Y-O-U-N-O-O-D-L-E.
Okay, sure, I'll just look into that.
There is a company out there that is already deeply penetrated into this market, at least in the U.S. and in some other places. So, you know, it's not like you're going to have a virgin market to go into, and it's not a huge market. This is, you know, it's a small business. I'm just concerned that you have to adjust your assumptions. You're trying to build a, you know, $100,000 business. You probably can build a $100,000 business. If you're trying to build a $500,000 business, maybe. Can you build a $10 million business? I am not sure. That's kind of where my feedback is.
Got it. So the next question was, should we position our platform itself as a crowdfunding platform, because it combines actually whatever we have is a combination of an angel list, a product hunt. So it's just we need to extend it to a crowdfunding platform.
Well, that's a different business. Crowdfunding platform is a different business. What you're doing is not crowdfunding platform. Crowdfunding platform is a whole different range of businesses, business dynamics. If you want to build a crowdfunding platform business, you can do that, but that's nothing to do with what you're doing right now.
Okay. 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 And the third, I think you said that is
third one not going to work.
Not.
Go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Sorry to kind of deter you from some of your assumptions, but it's better. You know, this is like it's like a working session. It's a safe place for you to get feedback, and I would rather you course correct early and don't follow dead ends. It can eat up 6 months, 9 months, 12 months of your time, you know, of your, and that's this precious time, and it eats up your energy. It takes immense amount of energy to build a company, and if you expend that energy on, you know, doing stuff that are not likely to pay off, I think it's not a good use of your time. So, so please treat the feedback, even if you get negative feedback, please treat that as something that is constructive and that will help you, you know, course correct and get yourself to a path that has a higher probability of success.
Sure. Thanks, Ramana.
You're welcome. Satjeet, you're up next.
Yeah, hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Loud and clear.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, perfect. Hello, everyone. Hello, ma'am, and hello, Jerry.
Hello.
It's great to hear you both. Honestly, we've learned so much. Yeah.
Good.
So just before the presentation, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Satjeet, and I'm from India. I'm from Delhi. And the product, what I'm trying to deliver here, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is basically an e-commerce platform, and it's a B2C kind of a business. What I'm trying to develop is the product name is eMart. It's India's first mobile application-based supermarket. So if you could go next to the slide, please. Yeah, so what I'm developing here is eMart. It's India's first mobile application-based supermarket. So the consumer just needs to download a simple application, browse through the products, and get a home delivery. There are a lot of value propositions associated with it. There are problems being solved, and there's a lot of feel-good factor in the whole application process, and you know, there's a lot into it. If you could just go next on the slide.
So
yeah.
I have a question on the back end. So are you, is this something where you're taking the orders and then fulfilling the orders from other places, or are you managing your own inventory?
That's a very good question. In the back end, initially, what I have since the product hasn't started, the traction is it's on the ideation stage. What I believe in the initial stage is I'll have to tie up with a few people so that there's a lot of capital which is not involved in it. But yeah, then eventually when I scale it up, when what I want as a target right now is to open one operational center which is catering about 10 to 15,000 apartments, which is around 40,000 people living inside. So just catering these many people over one center and probably collaborating with a supermarket nearby and some few suppliers, depending on what products I put into my application. So it'll be more of a mix. But yeah, when I gain some traction, when I reach my milestones later on, and then when I want to scale it, then obviously I will use different methods like opening my own.
So for the time being, without raising financing, it's going to be very difficult at this stage of your game. It's going to be very difficult to raise financing. So can you get this business?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you what you said like 2 seconds back.
It's going to be at this stage of the game, it's going to be very difficult to raise financing.
Right.
So can you, without having to worry about inventory right now, by tying up with other sources who's going to give you the inventory, with whom you can strike some sort of a deal,
Yeah.
Can you get this business to a certain number of customers? And that could be any number of customers. You can decide how far you can go, but how far can you go with what resources you have today?
Yeah, so that's what the thing is. I've done a lot of brainstorming. I've collected a lot of feedbacks. So getting customers on the board is looking quite easy at the moment. Of course, my milestones are quite high, but yes, I would be getting people who would be ordering from this application. But the only thing is I have to develop this application. The application needs to be made, needs to be built. So there's some capital involved in the initial stage.
That you have
I
to
can do the running of work.
Don't expect investors to give you capital to develop an app. That's a cheap. You should do it yourself.
Yeah, so that is what I'm on that stage where I'm looking after people. I'm taking an estimate that how much would the app cost to me, and and I'm planning those resources.
Okay.
Rest a lot of things are in place. So I'll get going once the app is built up. And till the time, if I get some fund or something to make that app, would be really easy, because obviously I've thought of the business maybe in future to take it up with the application. I don't know all the hidden expenses what are there maybe when I just launch the product. So I would be needing a certain capital for that also, so that something is not stuck up when I just launch it.
Stop telling yourself you're going to be needing capital for this and that, because there is no capital that's going to be available at this stage of your business. Nobody except friends and family are going to fund you at this stage.
Yeah. Well, getting it from the family. Sorry. Please go ahead. Yeah.
The Indian seed capital market is very, very risk averse.
Yeah.
As it is these days, the seed capital market in general is very risk averse. The Indian seed capital market is extremely risk averse.
I am facing a lot of problems, honestly.
You have to get to a point with friends and family money, bootstrapping, whatever way you can. And that's just the reality of your situation.
I also just think that when we think about the market, a lot of people will say this is a great idea, I would sign up for the app, but you're talking about changing human behavior. And that's not always an easy thing to do as well, even with the ease of technology, to get people to train to think to log on to the app and search and make the purchases versus, I'll just run down the street and go to the store. That's a mindset shift. And I studied engineering psychology in school, and that's not easily shifted. So you want to give some thought to that as well.
That's a great thought, JD. What brought me to the mobile app? I could have made it a website model. But what is driving me through the app is that, just for an example, WhatsApp, it's become so popular. Even my mother picks up the phone and, just texts her friends, and, she's so happy using all this. She's learned using a mobile phone by using just WhatsApp. So apps are really addictive. They're really user-friendly if you try and make them user-friendly. And when it's solving your purpose, it's very nice. The supermarket ecosystem in India is very tough. You have to get in long queues. There are no people helping you in the supermarkets. there is no product education, then you don't. There's very simple problem like you don't, when you buy some stuff, you don't get change back. People just give you products in return to that. They don't have those ethics of these small things would really drive a person using this app. And I have thought of a lot of things, keeping this app and making this service very vital, making putting in some feel-good factors for the customers who order through the eMart. Just a simple greeting. I've followed one thing. You go order a burger in McDonald's, they say hello, welcome to McDonald's, and then when you order it back, they say thank you, visit us again. So I'm trying to build in.
All of these things that you're saying are reasonable, but you have to test out in the market. And these are good pain points, and conceivably, in theory, it looks good, but you have to get an app in the hands of people who are doing grocery shopping and will be willing to order groceries through your platform. That's something, that's something that you will not know at what clip are people adopting your product until you actually go out there and start getting that app on the App Store. And then not only do you have to get people to download the app, and then you have to start getting people to use the app. All these will take a lot of time and energy and work. So all JT is underscoring the point that these are not, you're kind of dismissing how challenging it's going to be. You think you're going to be able to get customers. It's not that simple.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So let's take some audience questions. Folks, if you would like to type in your questions in public chat, I know Robert Roth is chomping at the bits to ask questions, and let's see what Robert's asking. Sajid, you have a question in public chat. Rohit Rana, I would just make the mobile app myself, or better still, I would simply modify an existing open source app slightly, and when the first order is placed, I would run to the supermarket to fulfill it myself. That's exactly right, actually. Rohit is absolutely right. You need to get as scrappy as possible to prove out your model. That's exactly right. Robert, what are your questions? All right, Sajid, so I think we've given you, quite a bit of feedback, and we're going to spend a few minutes, folks, telling you about how to use 1M, and then I'll open up the line and you can actually call in and ask questions as well. Please do not send me private messages. I cannot answer private messages right now. If you want to ask questions, please send them in public chat, okay? Sajid, it's okay. You can dial back if you like to. I will spend just a few minutes explaining to you how 1M works. Now, if you like what we are doing, by the way, this kind of, safe working session where you can get advice from people who know a little bit about what they're doing. They don't know a lot, but we do know a little bit. So if you like what we are doing, please refer serious entrepreneurs. And I want to stress the word serious, because entrepreneurship is not some, you try it for 3 months, it works, it doesn't work, you move on. This is not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, to build a real serious business, is a very lengthy process. You're going to have to stay with it. You're going to have to, keep at it for years. And that's the kind of entrepreneur we are interested in working with. We are kind of not interested in the fly-by-night types. So everything is at 1mby1m.com. You will find a blog that is very rich with information, and a lot of people learn just by following the blog. We have a very good following on the blog, and it's really, our emphasis has been to make it as educational as possible. Then we have the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, of which, as of today, we have 11 books. And each of them double-click down on a specific topic. So whatever topic is of interest to you, you will find a format that is essentially case studies of successful entrepreneurs who have built a certain level of traction, and significant traction in most cases, and how they have navigated their way, and then we highlight specific areas like this one. This particular new book is Bootstrapping Using a Paycheck, which we believe is going to be huge, huge.
Huge.
So, you know, JT agrees. That's something that we want you to understand, and we do want to acknowledge that you do not have to take Peter Thiel's feedback and go all in, jump in with both feet, and take that level of risk. If you prefer to do it another way, there is another way, and there are a lot of success stories doing it in a risk-mitigated way as well. So that's why we published this book. There are tons of videos, video FAQs explaining the program if you're trying to understand the program. We have these roundtables every Thursday, you know, except for Thanksgiving this month. Every week there are roundtables. Next month, except for Christmas, New Year's, we have roundtables every week. So this is the 238th roundtable. And, you know, take advantage of them. These are free. They are, you know, quite in-depth sessions. As you can see, we do deal with your issues in as much depth as possible. And all you need to do is go to the free roundtable page, and you have the full roster, registration links and everything. You just need to register to pitch or to attend. We also have the premium program, which is a $1,000 annual membership fee, where we offer extensive methodology guidance, exactly how to put one foot before the other in your entrepreneurial journey. We give you a full blueprint. We have a very rich curriculum. We've had over 600 successful entrepreneurs who have participated in building this curriculum, telling their stories, their entrepreneurial journeys. So you get, essentially, you get mentoring in a very compressed, efficient format from these over 600 entrepreneurs whose stories, journeys, advice we have captured and packaged it in a way that makes your journey efficient. That we are very, very particular about the efficiency point. So we are trying to give you, you know, maybe if you spend 50 hours on the curriculum, you're going to, if you are in point A, you're going to be so much more advanced and so much more sophisticated as an entrepreneur in point B in that 50 hours. It's amazing. And we've been doing this for 4 years now. We launched at the end of 2010, and it works. I can tell you it works like a magic, actually. If you follow the methodology, it works like a magic. So please take advantage of it. We help you with business development where we have contacts. We have a tremendous Rolodex. So we'll connect you to potential customers, channel partners, investors, if you are fundable, media, analysts, other potential mentors, advisors, anybody who can help in your journey and who's in our network, will give you access to that person. The $1 Million Club is a series of case studies that we've published where companies in the program have reached $1 million. And we quantify the 1M1M and value equation. That, if you look at the ROI analysis, it's $375,000 worth of value plus 5 to 10% equity for just $1,000, and we don't charge any equity. It's an incredible value program that you will not find anywhere else in the market out there. We give you lots of orientation to learn how to use the program, but it is like a gym. You know, just by buying subscription, you're not going to get in shape. You have to do the work. And the self-assessment is one that we recommend. You know, these are questions that investors will ask you, and we look at you as an investor in your own business. You're investing in valuable years of your life. So you have to be diligent about how you invest that time and that energy, and these are questions you should ask yourself regardless whether you go out to raise money. So lots of information about the premium program on the site. We kind of let you decide whether you want to join the program. This program is not for everybody. If you're not a self-starter, if you're not a self-learning mode kind of person, self-motivated, and if you need, you know, if you need a lot of prodding and all that, that's not the kind of person who will be successful in this program. We need you to be very self-motivated. But if you are self-motivated, we can do wonders with you. And we have lots of experience of doing that. So video the video FAQs. So I talked about the case studies of successful entrepreneurs. We have a core and an elective. The core is something that we want all of you to digest as soon as you get into the program. That covers 7 major topics: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, customer acquisition, team building, and financing. On the electives, they are aligned with trends of the industry where we see a lot of action. So it could be Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, mobile and social apps, healthcare IT, online education. All of these are interesting areas where we're seeing a lot of traction, and we have developed full case study-based learning materials for each of those categories. And our methodology is lean, capital-efficient, bootstrap startups. Remember what we discussed, JT and I, earlier, is that you are going to have to, even if you raise money later, you will have to bootstrap the early stages. You may bootstrap all the way. We have case studies of companies, actually, who have bootstrapped over $300 million businesses with no outside financing. So, you know, all of this is doable. It's really up to you. But at the minimum, you're going to have to bootstrap the early stages. And it's important that you learn methodology to do that. We have a lot of clout in the media, so we use our, you know, media relations to get you coverage. It's very difficult to get coverage in the early stages. So the media only wants to write about funded startups. This is a big problem, actually, in the industry that you have seen probably some of my writings about. And we let you use our social media channels to propagate your messages. So we have a huge amount of social media influence, and we let you use all of that to propagate your messages. We have an affiliate program where we offer 10% affiliate fee to our partners. So if you're working in entrepreneurship development, whether it's through a media portal or through local organizations, you're very welcome to become partners with us and you know, monetize your population. These are the upcoming free roundtables, pretty much every week except for the holidays. We have Thursday morning roundtables. Those of you who are in India, we have a big Indian contingent. Vision India 2020 is our other book outside of the Entrepreneur Journey series. That is an ideation book. You're most welcome to steal, morph, borrow any of these ideas and develop them. I don't have time to develop another $45 billion ideas. I'm working on 1M, but I have published these ideas, and they're well thought through ideas, and they're written to trigger your ideation process. If you're still looking for an idea, it's a good book to dig into, and it's not just India, actually, all developing economies, these ideas would apply to all the emerging markets. And then this incubator in a box is what we are using with a lot of our partners who are running their corporate incubation programs on top of our platform. So reminder, Bootstrapping with a Paycheck is our new book. And of course, we have several other books, Carnival in the Cloud, E-commerce to Web 3.0. These are all recent books this fall. And we're ready for questions. We have 7 minutes of Q&A. If you would like to call in, the instructions are on your screen. You can also ask questions in public chat, and we will pick up questions from the public chat if you're asking either JT or me. And in the meantime, JT, if you have any other comments or thoughts.
I was just going to chime in and validate to everyone that we're always telling people you're the career company that you keep. I have a similar platform for job seekers, and I think if you're an entrepreneur and you are serious, this is the exact kind of thing that you need to leverage because you have to be thinking about this stuff and training yourself all the time. And the only way to do it is to have this amount of content, this amount of resources available to you, as opposed to a one-off event where you go for 2 days and come back and that's it. And the other thing I would just say is that when I look at this and I think about all the value that you bring, that all those entrepreneurs out there have to understand you're probably your biggest competitor. You're your biggest risk factor for failure, which is you not recognizing that you don't know everything. And you have to surrender yourself to that fact and really close your gap in knowledge. So I've seen a lot. I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs fail because they just wanted to believe that they knew everything and that they could do it all by themselves, and you can't.
Unfortunately, you don't know what you don't know is a reality of this market big time. And First-time entrepreneurs have no idea what they don't know. The level of not knowing is incredible, and you're right, absolutely right. That's a huge reason for entrepreneurial failure. Anybody calling in, folks? Questions, comments?
Quick question on the Locator 1 presentation. I was curious if it was maybe an oversight, or did you ask if he had trademark or patent pending? Is that important at this phase? I mean, curious.
I did not. We actually, we don't do a lot of legal stuff here, you know.
Got it.
So I don't spend any time worrying about people's legal stamps or trademarks or any of the legal issues.
It just seemed like an interesting product, and it's. I was curious if that was an oversight or just not part of it. Thank you.
But you can ask him. Is let's see, is Thomas still in the room? Yep, Thomas is in the room. Thomas can answer the question. I think if the person who just asked the question can identify herself.
Thomas, hi. My name's Lucy Howell, and Smrana, thank you so much for doing this. I mean, I've sat on 3 or 4 of your calls, and they're just phenomenal. Anyone that's not participating in this is, you know, shame on them, quite frankly. But yeah, Thomas, I was just curious. You know, I think you've got an interesting product, and I play a little bit in the space with. So, do you have a patent on it? Is it pending, or where does that sit?
Thomas, you can answer in public chat if you like. I will read out your answer if you are answering in public chat. If you're not, yeah, I don't think you're dialed in anymore.
But I did reach out on your fund campaign, so you have my contact information. So, you know, we can connect later if you'd like also.
Scott Clark says, if you could boil it down to the one question our team needs to ask and answer at this early stage, that is, what would be the linchpin in helping us determine if we should focus resources on pursuing licensing deals or focus resources towards building a company to manufacture, market, and sell our patent-pending, secure, and private communication invention? Scott, this is too vague for me to advise you on. You know, it's dangerous to advise people without context, and I just don't have any context about your business to answer you. I have no idea what patent-pending, secure, and private communication invention you're talking about. So my advice to you is develop a slide presentation like you saw today and come and present, and I will be happy to work with you. But it's really not appropriate for me to give you advice on that little data. Anyone else?
Ramana, Robert's question is interesting. If we scroll back up, how can I protect my brand and market share after launch when the technology is unprotectable? It relies on a third-party platform, but my application is unique for now.
Very good question, Robert. If you're dealing with software, typically software is notoriously hard to protect from an intellectual property point of view. So everything is about time to market. You have to get out there, get, you know, selling as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and get ahead of the market. So unless you have, you know, proprietary algorithms or something that is patentable, the rest of the game is all time to market. Does that answer your question, Robert?
Ramana, do you think that branding yourself as an expert, I keep coming back and thinking about the ability to put yourself out there and be positioned as the expert. Do you think that helps protect brands at all?
Until you get traction, people are not going to recognize you as experts. You know, so you can do some of that in terms of, I think where you're going, JT, is okay in terms of content marketing, but you also need product validation to be able to really take ownership of that position. But from a marketing point of view, yes, position yourself as an expert in that area will give you the ability to get mind share from people, and that mind share is one of the first things you need to get traction. So absolutely, by all means, it's a very, very effective marketing strategy. And it's a combination. If if you can get to a sufficiently big position as an expert, it depends on how differentiated your work is, right? If again, I don't have context, so if I knew what product you're working on, it would be easier to answer. So Robert, again, put together a slide presentation and let's work on your business. That may give you a lot more color on what you're looking for. Okay, folks, we are at 9:30 p.m., which is typically our cutoff time, and it's really been interesting talking to all of you, and I saw there's a lot of engagement, a lot of questions and comments from the audience as well. So we will continue the conversation. JT, you've been great. Thank you for staying and participating all the way. It's been real fun, and we'll continue to collaborate. I love what you're doing, and I think we have very good shared value systems. So it would be fun to build on that. And thank you everybody else for coming as well, and we'll see you back here next week. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.